What's creamy? I've never really recorded a video where I didn't have a plan going into it, but I was just working on my board game and I thought I'm doing so many kind of interesting little workflow things that if I was a beginner and saw this, I would extract a lot of information from it. So even if it's not a structured, here's a Vim tutorial, here's like something I'm working towards, I think it would be cool to just have like a video of miscellaneous random work. And I've also been thinking like about maybe streaming when I'm working on like a board game or just working on a project or something in general. The only downsides to that I've heard from the YouTuber Ben Awad and others is that coding doesn't work so well with streaming unless you've got a very particular personality, because it's inherently a very focused thing, and streaming is kind of dopamine chasing, unproductivity fest. But I do think it would be really cool at some point to do some kind of stream where I'm just, if maybe not working on super hard like focused work, just kind of doing simple little things, and maybe not worrying that the progress is slowed down. But I'm also very progress conscious, so I don't want to do that all the time. Anyway, before I stream, I think like a kind of video like this where there's no plan and I'm acting more natural. I don't script or anything, but I sometimes know kind of what I'm going to say, would be pretty useful. At least it would have been if I was in the position I was in a couple years ago, which I was a couple years ago, I guess. Yeah, that didn't make any sense, but I also really like the continuity of this community is like nothing like I've ever seen on YouTube. I know there's probably a very close-knit community somewhere out there, but I feel like I can talk about things and they're like reoccurring, like people will, they have the thread of everything I've said in a way that is really awesome. I'm not just like throwing out a video and like a new batch of randos see it and they don't really care. Like I feel like I know a lot of people. I can recognize maybe 20 plus profile pictures of people that keep coming back and leaving comments that are like very in the thread of things, which is so awesome. It's like a continuous community. Even if it's not like as big, as like a big tutorial channel, it's just like very cool how in it everyone is. But anyway, here's a couple of like kind of interesting things I was getting out of the workflow. So right now I'm trying to set up this card for like voyage cards for sailing, and I'm going to make a dedicated video about sailing mechanics in the board game because I think it's really cool. But basically what I'm doing is like using a Typst template to place a bunch of cards together. And a cool thing I saw, I was trying to kind of explore the directories, right, to see what paths I needed. You can see I've got /assets, and I was kind of feeling around and using the completion a little bit, but it is also a little weird sometimes. So I was trying to get a good overview of my directories. Now, one way to do that, sorry, that's an Easter egg for an upcoming video, is to just look like and Finder. These are my components right here. But Finder's obviously something that's like I want to replace eventually because it's like it's a really bad application. It's terrible, but I've just kind of un-Vim userly just like steamrolled past that and tried to get good at Finder. So I like know a lot of the Finder shortcuts. I'd love to use something else in the future. Like I think this is an actual argument for the KDE terminal or WesTerm or whatever that can support the image protocol. And that could be really nice, but to be honest, for now, like Finder isn't holding me back as much as I think it seems like it would to some people. But anyway, here's like just like a quick fix to get the directory structure, just to look at it. There's a little command called tree, which I'm not sure if is pre-installed. I think I had to install it, like I did so long ago, I forgot. And there's got to be also like a Rust rewrite of it, like there is of everything. And you can see this just read in like all the directory structure. So you can see there's a lot of assets. Maybe that's too much. You can also do, so I'm using the R command read and then tree, and then I could do like, I think it's capital L for level 2. Okay, so that cut off like the big list of art. And you can see I've kind of got like a types directory, and this is going to have the templates, and then I've got a data directory where I'm reading all the spreadsheet data for my cards, and then I've just got the illustrations and I'm slapping them together. So yeah, that was one thing I was noticing that I thought, damn, that's kind of a cool thing. I would have liked to know that that's a possibility. And then up here, maybe you're not familiar with Typst, and I'll try to keep this as simple as possible just in case, but what I'm doing is kind of passing these two images into a card, and the card is gonna like lay them out. And you can see kind of down here, I'm setting up a page that's like the size of a poker card. maybe you don't know this about Typst, but you can do any kind of arbitrary control. So it's good for any asset. It's not just like PDF kind of standard paper sizes. I mean, LaTeX can do that too, I think, but it's just like, look how easy that is. Width 2.5, height 3.5, zero margin. And then I'm just setting the background as the card background. And if you look at what that is, I guess I can, I'm not sure the best, quickest way to open images. I usually go to Finder and look around, but I guess if I were to search, like, for instance, theme.png, you know, and then I went there, and then I just open, I think, or open and then %, it would open. Yeah, it's not the fastest workflow. I think going through Finder would be better, but you can see that it's just like a card frame that's exactly the correct size. And then, yeah, but I'm currently running into an error right here, which is this width. And I thought what I could do is use this function, and it basically kind of, in a very cool style, I've never seen anything like this, it kind of takes an instance of a function and then backfills the arguments after kind of, like you kind of like construct but don't call the function yet. It's very like interesting functional style. The problem is I don't think this is working because I'm passing down here like an instantiated image, so it's like no longer a theoretical function. It's more of like it is a function now. So yeah, I'm not exactly sure how to fix that yet, and I was just looking at the docs. So one great way to look at the docs now, I'm to using the native bindings for LSP. Like I thought about remapping them, but then I was like, they're actually pretty good. And so if you go an error and then I think it's D for diagnostics, or bracket D to travel a diagnostic. There's now control WD to get the hover, and this used to be, I think it was just capital K, which is now like LSP symbol hover, I think. I don't really remember like the exact terminology, but yeah, control WD, which I think of as like window diagnostic. And like control W is awesome as a prefix for that because it's like in the window mode. So good idea to whoever thought of that binding. That's a really good mnemonic. And yeah, it says has no method with, and that's just because I think it's like an instantiated thing. But if you're a Typst god, I would love to hear actually why, because I'm probably kind of glazing over the issue right there. And then there's a couple of other things I wanted to, I was looking at like the image class, right? To see like maybe there's some way I can like post instantiate, because instead of passing like the paths in here and then using like some kind of image constructor up here, you may be like, why wouldn't you do that? It's because I kind of want the card function to be able to take not just like a path to a background and foreground. I want it to take content so that it can kind of lay out that content so that you could do something more complicated. Like say that it's not just a background foreground image. You want like background and then 2 foreground images interacting, you know, or foreground images with like little labels and arrows on them. And I could get all of that stuff with, you know, there's like the sets package, and you can do like crazy like little labeling thing, and this can be styled so arbitrarily. So I was thinking you could have all of your kind of little game illustrations just automated for you, which would be awesome. So yeah, I was looking into the images, and you do capital K to get the hover. This looks great, by the way. I love this new rounded like little border hover. And then capital K again to jump into it. And the TinyMist LSP is great because it basically has the docs built in with a lot of examples. And you can see this is saying like basically all the parameters you can pass to it, which you can get with LSP completion. But I like to just read the whole thing, and I kind of have LSP completion on manual right now. So I'm not sure is the correct call because it is kind of slowing me down sometimes, but I do feel like it makes my memory better because every time I'm now like, okay, as I start typing, I'm like already kind of gunning for what was that method called, you know, versus when I type like just a period, I'm like, oh, I see it down there, which I don't know. It's a micro optimization. It's very weird, and I'm not sure it's actually doing anything, but I am going to keep doing it just out of curiosity because it's not hugely slowing me down, and I do feel like I feel my memory getting a little better for these method names. So yeah, there are a couple things that caught me about when I was reading this. This actually was like the thing that pushed me over the edge to making this little unstructured video. So you can pass in like a source, which is either, oh, it's cool you highlight, you can see the actual links. They're not concealed anymore. which I guess I knew because if you go to this and then you hit GX, which opens a link, it'll just take you to the web docs, which are nice because sometimes they have more comprehensive examples. But I think honestly, this is basically the web docs, which is really awesome. They just built that into your editor. And yeah, so it takes an image file like I was passing or raw bytes. So that's really cool that you can pass in raw bytes to this. And I didn't consider like the implications of that until I started reading down here. I was doing all this image filtering in the Python pillow library, and yeah, I didn't love it. It was getting kind of like confusing, and I'm probably just I have to just man up when it comes to that API, but I don't know. The Python was all like structuring it for a larger coding project, just it got kind of annoying, and I didn't really want to bring in Pydantic because that's like a whole, that's like medium to bring to large project, and I was like, I feel like I'm going to spend more time wrestling Pydantic than I am actually working on the output that matters. It's kind of like a Vim optimization thing, but then at the same time, you know, it's like, but all my types are dynamic and this sucks. So it's like just the threshold. Sorry, I'm just rambling about Python now, but I'm sure someone can relate to that a little bit. But anyway, here's why this is so insanely cool. They have a replace method where you can pass in a color channel and then like change the color. You can do image level edits within Typst, and it like is going to instantly recompile too. That's so cool. Like no matter what you think about the language, to do that in LaTeX, can you imagine what kind of nightmare that would be to do? Like, I'm sure maybe someone's written a package, but just to built into the language, just color channel dot replace, like, oh man, this image background is black and like it's a PNG, and I want to just have it like white in my like paper, just black, like dot replace black white, like one liner in there, no editing, and you preserve the original image, and like you can change it, and like if you ever need to do a different kind of edit, like that's just so crazy they built that in there. It's part of the language. It's just really making me love Typst, and like it is really niche, right? It solves like a very specific problem, but it's really like Rust versus C++, where yes, C++ can do everything that Rust can, and it doesn't really matter, but it's like you can feel the engineering that went into this, and the experience is just like amazing all the way through. But you could do this in LaTeX. It would just, I think, I wouldn't enjoy it in the same way that I'm enjoying Typst. And then let's see. Yeah, you can pass in all these different formats, and you can do other crazy things. This blew my mind. So yeah, it figures out the format automatically, blah, blah, blah. That's pretty simple. You can pass in like the encoding of things. And I thought, okay, that's like some weird advanced library author kind of thing. But look at this. This is incredible. Within Typst, within a PDF layout language, look what kind of features we're getting. We have a byte cast function and then a range, like a range object, basically identical to Python, and a first class function, or like lambda functions in a PDF language, and we're mapping a range and then doing like, so you could do any kind of, if you don't understand the implication here, any kind of like pixel art design, or yeah, you could make crazy patterns all like functionally within Typst by just creating like a big array of numbers that represent pixel values and then casting it to bytes. And I'm assuming, it doesn't say right here, but you could do kind of any arbitrary math and whatever to transform it into, like you could full on render crazy PNG, like you could build like ray marchers or ray casters or like crazy 3D graphics generators, because all you need is a canvas to write to and basic features of a higher level language. It would not be a huge stretch to make like a 3D game in Typst. It's just you're a little bit constrained in terms of like the inputs and outputs. Like you can only pass it through CLI flags and you can't exactly listen for input. So it would be like a very weird kind of page constrained game. But this shows you that any arbitrary encryption, or that's fuck. What's it called? Yeah, like interpolation of data. That was so dumb. Holy shit. Probably not going to edit this because I'm lazy, so that's really unfortunate for my reputation. But yeah, you could do just amazing things with that. And yeah, it is like a little bit kind of over the top fine-grained control. And you could, yes, you could do that in Python very easily. Yes, this is not like a new technology, but it's like Rust, and that it's like, damn, they thought of everything. And there's like, you can add scaling hints to your PDF viewers. Like, you just have such cool control over the PDF you produce. It's not just about making a PDF like look good and appear nice. It's also about, you have access to so many metadata fields in this language too. Like, you can add all these things that are invisible, but kind of to a PDF reader, change how it's affected. There was another thing, like, I think in the help for, let's see, page, if I boot that up, this has a lot of things, but let's see, like title maybe, or maybe that's like document. I thought there was something called title, or maybe it's header. I'm not sure. There's something like that. But what I'm trying to say is basically it's the name. Maybe it's called name. So, no, sorry, it doesn't matter. But you can name, like, you know, when you open something in Zathra or whatever less based PDF viewer you happen to use, maybe Soyak, which is fine also. But it says the title of the PDF at the top. Do you ever consider that's like read by the PDF viewer through some kind of metadata thing? And you can like define the metadata within Typst. I'm sure hardcore LaTeX users are like, yeah, bro, that's like day one news. But that's just kind of really mind-blowing to me that that kind of metadata can be defined, and it can also be programmatically defined. So you could create some kind of automatic date capture thing, you know, and have a recompile script so that you have like a PDF that it changes its title every day or something. But just how the gears in my mind are working right now, and I'm not really sure how I should get this scale working. I think maybe I should put an inline container, like do just like fg equals, actually I don't want to, I probably just want to keep fg as it is, so I'll comment out that line, and then down here where I'm rendering fg, I'm going to put it inside like a box and go like that. And I think if then I do like width, image width, and then height, I should have copy and pasted, but it's too late now. It's kind of like a curse, to be honest, knowing like all the crazy Vim knowledge I know, because, did I misspell something? Oh, it probably, unknown variable image height. Oh, it just defined image width to be, I should probably like rename that to size. So if I do grn for, I like to think go rename, but that's the new default binding in LSP for image size. And then, of course, why did I not correct that? But I can jump to diagnostic and then CIW. Oh, I forgot that. Damn. Yeah, I was saying, like, it's a curse to know as much about Vim as I know, because when I'm doing all these edits, like every time I hit like an HJKL, or like even like a change entire word, or at like any kind of movement, I'm like, I should have been thinking ahead. I should have yanked that. I should be using this motion. It's a lot more efficient, you know. But that's kind of that's an endlessly problematic attitude, and I've talked about that I feel like I've gone over it too many times in the last 2 videos. Just like the workflow stuff is kind of an endless pit that you don't want to fall into, but it's still something I'm cognizant of every time I make a motion. Like, even though this might look fast to you, like 10 times there was like, I could have done something else, should have been doing a crazy norm command. And I don't know if it's just like this impossible vision I have in my mind that's never going to be realized, and it's just like, I don't know, halcyon, golden, glowing, like divine Vim usage where just every motion is perfectly pre-thought out. But that's like, that's ridiculous and pretty much impossible. But kind of imagine the vision. You know those Vim golf guys that save like every keystroke? Imagine you were so good at Vim golf you could do it in real time. That's kind of what I'm thinking. And I'm no longer going to be putting in the work to get like that. Not that I ever like had like a training routine. Like I'm Rocky, waking up every morning like, well, actually it kind of was like that. But I was just reading the Vim manual. I wasn't trying to get faster. But just for the people who were like, yeah, it's a bottomless workflow pit, man. Like, it's ridiculous you're holding yourself to this high standard. Just like, hopefully that gives you more of a sense of the vision, you know? Like, can you imagine how awesome that would be if you were doing all of those motions, but in like a quarter of the amount of motions and time? Like, that would just be so sick, even if it's like so useless. But Yeah, that's just how I imagined it. Hopefully it's a little more clear now. But let's just see if that worked, I guess. Looks like the preview is erroring currently, which is a little annoying sometimes. I'm not sure how to extract, like the typed preview kind of silently errors. What we can do is run a make and we should see error, failed to load file, access denied. Okay, what is it? Typst, what? Typst utils 26.8. Okay, will this populate the quick fix list? Beautiful. All right, access denied. That's interesting. That is really interesting, actually. I wonder if it's like path issues because I'm going up and over. I think that might be it. I think you might have to do like bang, like typst, compile this, and then dash dash. Oh, I can't get bash completion, so I'm gonna control Z to pause and then go typst. Oh, actually, this should be fine to run from the command line because then I won't be in that directory. Because the problem is the root directory of typst is based on where you compile the document from, I think. So if I were to run this compile command here, it would also not work because I'm doing dot dot to go above. But what I should be doing is, so I go FG to resume Vim. And then I'm going to go, okay, here's a little 10xer norm f dot 3x. Boom. Yeah, that was way faster. Take that. Okay, now this is going to error because the LSP is just like looking at the absolute path. But if we control Z again to pause, and then I do typst compile, and then what's it called? Typst, I think, is the document, and then it's utils, and then I compile that, and it's gonna say not found, asset slash components slash theme card. Why would that not find? And let's hit a tree again, I guess. Can use tmux scroll mode to get through this. Assets slash, okay, so am I misspelling something? Assets, components, assets slash components, okay, and then theme.png, theme, theme, components, assets. Yeah, it looks like I'm spelling everything correctly. That would be really embarrassing if I wasn't at this point after that much checking. But file not found. Oh, let's check the full path it searched. That's probably it. Man, I had to scroll all the way back up. Probably a better way to do that. But at documents, projects, stormy seas, types, assets. Okay. I see. It is still running. Like, I didn't realize from the location of that document. So what I can do instead is typst compile. Well, I can rerun the following command. So I can go control PP like that. Or there's also a way to, like, I'll just try this for the sake of, I think you can do FC, and what that does is it opens the last command in your editor, but if you pass an argument, will it go 3 deep? Okay, I think it maybe did go 3 deep. What the heck did I just do? FC maybe, well, if I print out my history, and then I can see, why did it print vim dash dash clean for 3, FC3? I don't exactly know how that works. If I do FC and then paste that, oh, awesome. Okay, there's a cooler way to do what I just did. I could have just literally hit Control P 3 times, but just for the sake of like the weird Unixness of it. And someone could tell me a better way to use that in the comments, which is so sick. That's why this community is so awesome. Like, I'm not getting the big bucks and fame from farming normies, but dude, the amount of like deep knowledge is worth literally thousands and thousands of dollars. Like, you don't understand what information is worth compared to that kind of money. Like, what am I gonna do? Pay my rent a little more, like help my parents with their mortgage a little more than I already totally do, and like pay for a couple more groceries with a few $100s of ad revenue? Fuck no. Like, I get crazy deep cut Unix knowledge for free. I can just ask like hundreds of people that are insanely knowledgeable, maybe not about everything. Like, you're not totally cracked at everything, but there's gonna be some expert at one random thing in my audience, and then I can just get like free advice from them because I give you like free advice about other stuff. Dude, that's so awesome. I never like thought that's what a YouTube channel like this would end up being. It's just, that's like so incredible it ended up like this. And I saw someone acknowledge that in a comment. I wanted to say, I don't remember your name, but you had like 200 likes at the top of one of my last questions. You're absolutely right. I did not do that on purpose, but it's turning into like, I just have a search engine with insanely smart people. But yeah, anyway, enough glazing. So I think it's like project root or something, but we can check with man Typst and then project root maybe. Oh, it's probably man Typst compile. Can I jump to Typst compile if I do that? Yes. Okay, root dash dash root. Okay, that's easy. It's not project root or anything. They always name things so well. Damn. Dash dash root and then just dot, I think. And then we can also do dash dash PPI for pixels per inch. I think you'll have to assign with an equal sign, but I could be wrong. This is also showing my Unix newbiness, but I think there's some standard where these are like flags and you assign with equals or something. Okay, yes. Yeah, and then we could also do like a dash F because it's going to be a PDF by default. And we don't really want that. Let's do dash F equals PNG, right? And then if we close this, it should run. Okay, and that still did not work. Oh, it's probably because if I do FC again, probably because root here has to actually be assigned equal to that, and I wouldn't be surprised if we have to escape period for some reason. Okay, that did not work. Maybe we don't escape period? Why would this not work? It should work. It should. Assets, okay, I'll run this and then debug it again. Okay, searched at Stormy Seas Typst assets. Huh. Yeah, that's weird. Typst, because I'm compiling and the root is, maybe if I do, this is kind of dumb at this point, honestly. So I'm just gonna FG to bring back that other Vim instance, and then I'm gonna do dot dot slash like I had before. All that work from the norm command is undone. And see, there's an instance. I could have been faster. I could have kept in my head that I just made that change and it's still in my change list. I could have hit U, but I did it manually. And that's the kind of thing, it's not so much that knowing the deep Vim knowledge is what I want, it's that I want to be able to apply it. That's not deep Vim knowledge. I want to be able to keep more registers and more buffers in my head. And I don't think that's unreasonable. Even like VS Code users or whatever are able to do that kind of thing where they know multiple lists and keep track of them. But very minor gripe, and I sound very like pedantic and ridiculous for it. But yeah. Anyway, let's finally give that a, what the? No write since last changed. Maybe oh, this has been a running instance for a long time. I don't even want to quit this anyway, so Control Z again. And now let's go Typst compile, let's FC, but we're gonna have to FC do? Damn it! I don't get how to use FC really, I have to read the manual RTFM. But let's just go Control P a couple times, and you can go Control X, E, and that also opens up in your editor. And now we don't need this root argument, but I like the other things that we've got. So hopefully this works. Failed to load file, access denied. Hint, you cannot read files outside of the project root, but that's what I did. Oh, dash dash root, maybe I still need the root equals. Yes! Let's go, dude, that's fire. Fuck yeah, okay. And then what did that give us? Did that even compile? Oh, it's probably, you know what it is? It's probably in the same foreground. Probably in the same directory as this. So if we explore, we're gonna see utils.png. Come on. Yes! Fuck yeah, dude. That's so awesome. Oh my god, I love this language. That's so sick. All right, the problem is I don't have live web preview because the pathing is a little bit annoying, but I have more of a handle on it now, and I think I could figure out how to pass like a custom command to my live preview for when I'm editing this, just so I can iterate more quickly. but I think that would be kind of involved document reading and would get boring. Plus, this video is gonna. I'm always like perpetually worried that my phone is gonna run out of storage and the video will cut because it's happened a few times. And also, my phone at this point, now that I'm just talking about whatever the hell I feel like it, I really got to get streaming. But the phone, you know how like if you've seen that short, it doesn't turn off anymore because the battery is so ridiculous. It's not the battery. The thing that attaches the power button to the battery has been severed, so I can't turn my phone off. Just so many funnier implications that you wouldn't think. Because in iOS you have to like double click to pay for things, so like my credit cards are all disabled, which has been really awkward a couple of times. I've had to like get people to bail me out. And also I can't install any more apps because you have to double click to confirm. I figured out recently there's a way around that, but it's just getting really inconvenient. And now the really funny thing is that the what's it called, silent mode switch is also kind of attached to the power mode wire, and it's shorting constantly. It's like touching other electrical things. I think shorting, I don't know, I'm not an electrical engineer, but I pick it up and like the contact from my skin, which conducts, I believe, like makes the silent mode like toggle rapidly, and there's like a haptic kind of feedback that happens whenever that happens. And it's so funny because the haptic feedback like pushes the phone up a little bit or moves it enough so in my hand that the connection is broken, right? And then it like, so it's momentarily not connected, then it falls back down a little bit, hits it again, and then the haptic motor triggers again, so it just like vibrates whenever I pick it up. If my hand is in a certain position, it's in my pocket, I feel it like constantly toggling all the time. But it's still like, I was with my friend Jake in Montreal, we were looking at like cameras and stuff, and I was like, yeah, people just don't watch me for my camera quality so much so, and this kind of thing really goes to show you like, you can just take your phone and anyone could do this, what I'm doing. So like just shoot your shot and do it, you know, make a channel. It could be the best thing to happen to you. And I did this with a phone that literally does not turn off anymore, and it has like 60% in its battery health, and it's gotten no case, and it's been running like this for years. So you don't need, and I also got it for like 200 bucks on eBay. And yeah, regardless of what you feel about Apple, they make some pretty damn good hardware. And yeah, their software, I've talked about this before. People like get mad that I trash on Apple for style points, or the Apple fanboys, but the Linux fanboys I think are still not convinced that like Apple is all they're chalked up to be. So I don't want to iterate or go over the same arguments because I've made whole videos about that. But yeah, their software sometimes sucks like Finder, but you can run Linux applications and the hardware is just phenomenal. And yeah, that's about it for this one. Let me know what you thought of this longer format, if you even were able to watch all the way to the end of it. But I'm kind of thinking more now in terms of, like I was saying, information than virality. It's always hard to cope with the fact that a video is flopping, kind of. But even now, like the worst my video can do is like the really enthusiast guys of this community will watch it no matter how like horribly I mess up the title and thumbnail. So I don't even care at this point. And yeah, like I was saying, like it's an information exchange for me now than a money exchange. Like that money is just, it's worth jack shit compared to the amount of like information and life improvement advice I've gotten out of this. So yeah, some deep stuff today, I guess. It's a nice day though, so I'm gonna go outside, I think. And yeah, I'll catch you next time. Stay tuned. There's a lot of interesting stuff coming in the future of this channel. I'll just say that.